Hey guys, welcome back to day 12 of the Monster Mash movie marathon. We're just getting into the tail end with the month here, and we're going to talk about another documentary actually. This is the second one that I've covered. So on today's video, we're going to talk about 2010's Video Nasties. Let me transport you back to the 1980s in England. So the Video Nasties were this list of banned films, and one was actually zombie flesh eaters. So and that was actually on the list. One of the fascinating things that this talks about is censorship. This kind of talks about the culture in the 80s at that point. It talks about something that I didn't really know until I seen the documentary, was that there weren't any blockbuster videos. There weren't any extras over here in Ireland. There weren't any that you could walk into your local corner shop and there would be videos. You could just rent them then and there. It wasn't like a blockbuster. It wasn't like an extra in there. It wasn't a franchise of movie rental places out there in the 80s. There was local people doing it and whatnot. So I really found that quite fascinating, to think that you could just buy up a bunch of VHS tapes and just rent them out. And you didn't need to have this license for this franchise, But it talks about censorship and whatnot, and it is kind of like a downer film because the people who wanted to censor it actually won, but they won that battle. They didn't win the war, that type of thing. So what happened was the UK government couldn't really manage that in kind of this age where you could have a VPN just transport you to a different part of the world to watch something, it'd be very unmanageable now. At this point, with all the technology we have, it kind of goes into the fact that this woman called Mary Whitehouse. There's a part in the documentary which I was like, have you watched one? And she says absolutely not, because I know what goes on in those movies. She'd never watched any of the films that she's talking about and whatnot, and that was kind of weird. This kind of started the moral panic. This kind of started the moral outrage of the satanic panic and whatnot, because there's a lot of Puritans running around back then, and there is now to a certain extent. We think our issues in the 2020s now are new. They're absolutely not. The moralists are still using the same tactics as they have done so before, basically moralizing the entertainment that you watch. And you see, the thing about that is, right, once they moralize it and once they label it as a banned thing, I think one of the talking heads in the documentary was saying well, they made this list up of banned films and whatnot, and it was basically just horror fans dream come true to see these films and to say you've seen them. Yeah, but I absolutely love this film. I absolutely love this documentary. I think that some of the films that were on the list really don't hold a fucking candle anymore to the actual stuff we have now. And one guy gets kind of into it and he says it was just for Thatcher to get re-elected. Absolutely, it was a very, very winnable battle there for the Tories to, make this moral panic and then be the ones to kind of ban all the films and to be a saviour of England and whatnot. I think that's one of the most interesting parts of it, is they made it political because they knew that they would win. I think that's really interesting. So would I advise you to watch this documentary? Yeah, absolutely. It shows you the middle class in England in the 80s had a good thing going with these local video shops, because they used to buy up a bunch of VHS tapes and whatnot, and used to just rent them out, and it was a really, really it was a booming business venture for a lot of them. And the minute that happened, these films, some of these films aren't really good for the youth and whatnot, but it was just kind of to put the middle class down. I think Tories did there. Anyway, I 100% recommend this documentary. I 100% think that it's a documentary that's very relevant now. I think it's still relevant. Oh, so I got this about a year ago, and I've just been. This is like my third time to watch it. Just a really interesting documentary to watch for me, because it gives So anyway, guys, that's it. This is day 12 done. We're nearly there. We're nearly at the end of the month here on October. Monster Mash Movie Marathon is near to a close. Anyway, guys, that's about it. Speed or on day 12 of Monster Mash Movie Marathon. Forever.